truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
All right, everybody. Peace, everybody. Information is power. Information is power. All right, everybody. Man Show. I appreciate everybody being here today.
You are listening to Information Man.
This is going to be a very special program.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
Jackalope creatures.
The Information Man Show. Okay, everybody, welcome to the Information Man Show. This is going to be a very special program today. This program today is really most definitely what my show is all about. We're talking about community, giving back to the community, mentoring, leadership, public speaking. I have a very special guest on who also happens to be my frat brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. This brother is very dynamic. I'm talking about Dwayne Anthony Aikens Jr., currently a resident in Oakland, California. He received his degree in psychology with a concentration in special education from the University of Xavier of Louisiana in 2005. Brother Aikens is the co-founder and executive director of We Lead Ours, which is WELO is their acronym. We Lead Ours is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides at-risk youth in Oakland with school and community-based enrichment programs that uses hands-on learning experience to nurture the life skills that focus on career exploration, civil leadership, college preparation, and health and wellness. Under Brother Aikens, Dwayne Aikens Jr. leadership, the We Lead Ours have developed a career exploration field trip programs that have partnership with Lockheed Martin, Google, Santran. These are some of the companies that are in the Bay Area. Samtrans, Silicon Valley, BART, which is a rapid transit, Bay Area transit in the Bay Area. For those of you who may not be from the Bay Area, California, Pacific Gas and Electric, San Francisco Save the Bay Foundation, Waste Management. The objectives of the program is to provide youth from the underserved communities with the opportunity to learn in real world from minorities working in STEM, black folks in particular working in STEM, I would say. We need more black people in the sciences. Brother Dwayne is committed to uplifting young men in his community and mentoring them through his, brother's got a lot on his resume, through his male leadership program, Men at Power Strategy, which is called MAPS. Young men grades that they focus on is between 6th grade through 12th grade. Participating in this year-round mentoring program, participants in this program, community service project, which is based on working in the community, dealing with homelessness, feeding the homeless, sporting events, performance arts, and other social activities in the community. When Brother Dwayne Aikens Jr. is not working for the WELE, We Lead, as a co-founder, he is participating as an active member of our dear fraternity. My dear fraternity, folks. See, we do works. I know people have their issue about fraternities and sororities, but we are doing the work in the community, and this brother is to be commended because he is doing the work. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, our fraternity, incorporated at the Hayward Graduate Chapter in Hayward, California, and a member of an Organized for Action. Brother Dwayne serves on a board of directors for Keep Oakland Beautiful and the Oakland Parks and Recreation Stewardship Committee. This brother is in Oakland. He's in the Bay Area. I lived in Oakland, as I've told many of you, for about 10 years. I'm from the Bay Area. I lived in San Francisco for about 30. And I met this brother directly through being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. And in Alpha Phi Alpha, we bring dynamic men into our organization like this. We look for the diamonds in the rough, the cream of the top. Leadership, scholarship, love for all mankind, strengthening bonds are some of our mottos. And so I'm very proud to be able to bring this brother on to my show. We've been talking for a while about him coming on, off and on, through the phone, through social media. And I finally have, got this brother on. We were supposed to be on live yesterday, Saturday, but I'm glad to have this brother aboard. I'm glad everybody please share the video too, because this is going to be a dynamic conversation as to what this brother is doing in the community. A lot of time we focus on a lot of negative things in the community. We have people on YouTube who say, burn the community down. Black women are this, black men are that. The community, is in a rupture. Well, things can't change unless you, as men, I'm talking about men, get involved. You can transform a child. You change one mind and you can change the goddamn world. This brother is doing it. This brother is out there in the community, committing himself to what his destiny is, to his goals, to make his community better. This is a picture of him with some youth in the Oakland area at a ball game. This is the kind of stuff that Brother Dwayne Aikens Jr., Brother Aikens, is engaged in. These are some of the programs that this brother is involved in. Dig deep. Mistakes are the grassroots used to grow stronger. And of course, in the city of Oakland, the town as we call it, City of Oakland Parks Commissioner, there he is, Brother Aikens, that you see on that picture. So without further ado, excuse me, folks, I'm going to bring the brother on so that we can have the conversation. And let me unmute him and let me bring him on. Brother, my brother. I hope I did you well with that opening presentation. That's your words.
That was a good intro. Brother Taylor said, "Let me talk." Right now, he said, "Taylor said, let me talk." So, Brother Scott Taylor. But
wait a minute. Brother Scott Taylor said what?
tell his sons to let me talk.
Tell Brother Taylor that this is my show, not his show. But that's my saying, so he's better watch his mouth.
Yeah, but
this is my show. But no. For all due respect, peace to Brother Scott Taylor. That's my line, brother. I love you. Hey, the other day when I did that video, I know I made a little bit of a booper because I didn't have you in the ticker, but I went back into it and changed the description where your name is in it. And I dropped your name in that video that I did on Facebook. About 3 or 4 times I mentioned your name, brother. So I just want to give you that respect. We've been 31 years in the organization. We've been through a hell of a lot. I love that, brother. I know he's involved with OTL or Gamma. No, let me correct that. Gamma Phi. He's in Gamma Phi Lambda.
No, he's in Omicron Theta Lambda now. He's
our
chapter president, actually, right now.
Okay, that's that's in the Haywood area. Okay, yeah, thanks. I stand corrected. But the bottom line, no matter what chapter you're in, we should never divide ourselves by chapters. The bottom line is doing the work, and he's doing the work, and I'm going to be. You're going to see my face involved more. I'm submitting myself. So go ahead, brother Aikens, according to brother Scott Taylor. Let you talk. Go ahead, brother. Tell us about yourself. I'm glad that you're here, first of all.
Yeah, so again, Dwayne Aikens, Xavier University alumni. Also got a master's in business administration from the University of Phoenix back in 2009. That welcome and that introduction was pretty interesting. A couple of new things, and I'm no longer on the board of directors for Keep Oakland Beautiful. I turned out, but now I'm on the board of directors for the Oakland Parks and Recreation Foundation. And then you gave the commissioner shout out. We lead ours. We just turned 10 years old. This would actually be our upcoming 11th year doing summer camp services. We provide after school programs in Oakland Unified School District. We have expanded services to the Fremont Unified School District and the Berkeley Unified School District. And we do substance abuse, harm reduction, strengths-based coaching. And what's really happening now, being 10 years old in the game, when all this coronavirus stuff was coming up, we had to get to a place where we had to make a decision. Either we were going to continue to do the work, or we were going to make sure that we just walked away from it. And after going 10 years, we was like, we got to do the work. We got to evolve. And so right now what we're working on as an org is actually developing our own mentoring app. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a place to where we can actually put all of our programs there, create our own curriculum for social emotional support, also some exercise workouts, and partner with other folks that specialize in stuff like science, technology, engineering, as well as different arts and stuff like that. So it'll be a one-stop shop, so you can get your mentoring on and all of that good stuff. I see all the shout outs, some of my friends. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got some good folks coming in. I appreciate everybody that's here. Let me just give a few shout outs to a few folks in there. We got my son, Scott Taylor. We got Checking for You. Back to the Basics, Sir Drop TV. Let me see, realistic. Let me see, Nikki Diva, Perfection Nikki. Thank you, everybody that's coming in. I appreciate you being here. And Dickie's in the house, and brother Taylor, I'm going to get you up on the show too at some point, brother. You will be up on here as well. So continue on, brother, with what you were saying.
Yeah. So pretty much. You posed a question earlier. You asked, why did I get into this work? Mm-hmm. So when I first got back to Oakland in 2005, I wasn't planning on coming back. I was working as an advertising consultant in New Orleans. Things was going well. And I had some great clients like Fat Burger, Allstate, the Black MBAs. So that residual income in New Orleans was looking really good in a townhouse, paying only $706 for a 2-bedroom townhouse.
Right.
So I was like, this life after college, I'm getting paid plus commission. So I was excited. So I was not coming back to Oakland. Hurricane Katrina sent me back to Oakland, honestly.
Wow.
When I got back to Oakland, I literally came back with a duffel bag, my lease, a pair of short pants, some flip-flops, and a wife beater on. That's what I got off the playing in San Jose with. And I still was going to go back to New Orleans. And then my grandmother, she was like, you need to go to Red Cross. And I'm like, why do I need to go to Red Cross? I'm not a refugee. And she was like, you stay in Metairie now. You don't stay here. And so I went to Red Cross. And instead of getting support at Red Cross, I asked, what can I do to help? And they immediately put me on the youth education part. So I went out to high schools and talked to kids about disaster preparation, told my story, and I did a couple of news sets, and Sports for Kids hit me up, now known as Playworks, and they was like, we want you to come work for us. So I was like, okay, well, I'm here still, so I'm still going back to New Orleans. So I went and took that job with Sports for Kids. But what I realized by being an Oakland native and then coming up through so many leadership programs, really in elementary and middle school, and just getting that opportunity to express myself and have youth voice, I noticed that those type of programs was being stripped away from the school. And then with the influx of technology coming to the schools, I also noticed that soft skills and three-dimensional thinking was being taken out of the curriculum. So I felt like the curriculum was just turning kids into robots. Like all you need to do is English and math. And I was like, I know I don't want to be a PE teacher. I know I don't want to be a math teacher. I know I don't want to be an English teacher. I want to do leadership. So I started a boys group, Men at Power Strategically, with 14 young men for advisory class out of Sin School. And pretty much it's really cool that we started that program, because that's really the framework for my nonprofit whole leadership program. Men at Power Strategically, Ladies at Power Strategically is the girls component. Our after school program, the Language of Leaders Institute, everything is modeled under that. And I like to say that we lead ours, Men at Power and Ladies at Power strategic programs. If you put those two programs on the campus together, it's going to mirror being at a Black college, pretty much. However, the program also have a diverse lens. So it allows kids that are not Black to participate in the group. For example, we just expanded that program over to the Fremont Unified School District. And based on the demographics in Fremont, all of my young men are Latino, 2 African-American and 1 Caucasian, but they're operating in a male leadership program, which is modeled after a lot of things that we do in the fraternity. So we have stepping, we have oratorical call outs. So pretty much that's a trick to where you can get kids to actually get them to like rehearsing things, get them to like doing public speaking. So it's kind of like a trick to get them comfortable with public speaking. They do community service projects. So we do all of those different things that we are scheduled to do within the frat, but we do it through Men at Power Strategically, because I went to school at a HBCU, and many of my friends that were from the South and from the Midwest, they would talk about how when they were in high school and elementary and middle school, how they had like junior frats and sororities. So they already when they got to New Orleans, they already knew that they was going to be a part of these groups. Like I honestly, even though one of my favorite alphas in the whole wide world, Lawrence Aikens, is my cousin, and I also call him my dad, my cousin, and my fraternity brother. He's every title, right? But the sad thing about that story is, growing up in Oakland, I didn't have access to Lawrence like a lot of my other cousins and stuff did, because I didn't go around my father's side of the family. So I didn't get to have a relationship with Lawrence until I got to Xavier, and I got a random phone call walking into the Neophyte show. Those of you who don't know what a Neophyte show is, that's when all of the Greeks come out and they get to do their step performance and stuff. So I get a random call from him, and he was like, well, call me after the show and tell me what you think. So I called him, and he was like, what you think? And I was like, well, I like the guys that have on the black and gold. He was like, what's your email address? And I was like, here's my email address. And he shot me a whole bunch of stuff like, read this. And then I called him back. I was like, are you an alpha? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. And so that's what started me and Lawrence's relationship. And that's what also led me to being so passionate about mentoring and supporting other folks, especially youngsters that I feel don't have that same level of support, because Lawrence did so much for me in college. I remember him and his wife, every month they would send me big old care packages from Nabisco, because his wife worked for Nabisco. So she had a whole bunch of stuff and she would send it to me. And that was a kind thing. One of my first internships that I got in college was through Lawrence being on the board of directors for the UNC Unite. What is it? I think in North Carolina Child Care Services. So he was on the board of directors, and he got me a summer internship. I thought I was going to get a nice one, teaching preschool or something, doing something with my major. Sure enough, I was in the maintenance department. So I was in hot Greensboro, North Carolina, mowing grass, painting walls. And I was like, how do I get to do something else? So I had to really fight and kind of claw my way in a good way, more so. How do I get out the maintenance field, and how can I help you coordinate the transit part of the org? And my boss, he's seen that I had some other skills other than doing the maintenance work. And around the last 3 weeks, he allowed me to do more office work and get some of the administrative stuff. So that's a older alpha helping a younger alpha, and I wasn't even an alpha yet. I was just a student at Xavier. I didn't actually join Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated until I got back to Oakland in 2006. So yeah,
and I think that's around the same time that I ran into you at some of the social events.
Right. Yep. Right after I crossed. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me ask you something, man. You seem to have a lot going on. You've co-founded an organization. We lead. You're involved with We Lead Ours. You have put together male leadership program. And then another thing I need to put up on the screen here, you've gotten involved in a program called Mentoring on the Fly.
So let's talk about Mentor on the Fly, because that's actually what we've done. Like, WeLo's been around for 10 years. And so pretty much I got on a Mentor on the Fly t-shirt right now. But
let everybody see that. Come closer.
Mentor on the Fly t-shirt.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
So pretty much that program is for young ladies age 8 through life, young men 10 through life. And that's a mentorship program that's launched by WeLo. It started in 2017 with me just taking young men on field trips on the weekend, because some of my students was like, why we don't never do nothing on the weekend? I was like, well, we can do some stuff on the weekend. Let's go to a baseball game. Let's do this. So that's where it came from. And we was walking across Berkeley campus, and one of my fraternity brothers went with me on the trip to Berkeley, and I was like, this is kind of like mentoring on the fly. And I was like, that's what I'm going to call this program. And so last year we incorporated the female version of it, because one of our summer camp parents was like, she wanted to give her back her time developing a female component of mentoring. And I was just telling my business partners, like, I really want to do something for the girls, but I need a strong enough female mentor that's going to be there to guide it, to scope it out. And so I was like, this is meant to be. So we got the Mentor on the Fly program. And what we're doing with that, every Wednesday, anybody that's out there that want to jump on our Mentor on the Fly live on Wednesdays at 3:00, we have professionals, since we're doing the social distancing mentoring. So you get on there, you bring your kids, and they'll be talking about their careers. And then if your young person want more information, want to talk to that person offline, you can just DM us and we'll make that connection happen. So that's a way that we're still keeping our program alive. And then we also just, through the work we do with the Oakland Unified School District, we started a podcast which focus on pretty much a safe space for youth and adults to come over. So that's called We the Scenario. And so everything that we're doing now with WeLo is shifting more so towards the Mentoring on the Fly program, looking at what's going to be something that can be long term in the case we have to continue doing social distancing within the next 3 years. Hopefully it's over by December. But as an executive director and a business mind, I'm thinking about what can we do to make sure that we're sustainable? What can we do to make sure that we're a trendsetter in the field of mentoring
Yes.
and youth development and not waiting to the last moment? I often joke about how so many of the nonprofits now are doing this career exploration thing, thing. And the one thing that we had before we started We Lead Ours is we were already in school sites. Me and my business partners, we was already doing our own coaching and youth development stuff. But all of my research for my business administration proposal was on how do you use business tools to make education programs better. And it was already trending in all of the MBA stuff, all the doctoral level stuff. It was all trending, career exploration. And so I just really called on fraternity brothers, called on folks that were that went to high school with us, that were doing cool things in the area and worked for some big companies, and was like, how can you set up these field trips? Like,
Wow.
I don't even want you to donate. I just want you to make sure that we can bring some kids on there. So that's how we got linked in with BART, Google, Caltrans, AC Transit, all of those different things, and BART,
Well,
like that. So,
well, brother Aikens, let me stop you right here and ask you this other question. You talked about the WILO, We Lead Ours program, and this is what I have to ask you. You said something about that people can catch what you're doing on a webinar. Can you give, for people that will be listening to this, because there'll be a lot more people listening or watching this after we go off, give them some details. What do they need to do to be able to catch that live? Is it going to be on Facebook? Give them some details in that area.
So the live is actually on Instagram. So you go to Mentoring on the Fly. So Mentoring on the Fly, and you just follow us. And when you follow us at 3 p.m. every Wednesday, we're doing rapid fire mentor sessions. So that's what we're calling them, rapid fire mentor sessions. If you're a professional, even if you have a story to tell, even if you messed up, because that's the difference between our mentoring program. I believe that we need individuals that have a story that can relate to some of the things that's going on. Like in East Oakland, like we're in shelter in place, but we've already had our murders have jumped up, right? So we need all boots on the ground right now. Like it's really serious out there. So if you have a story, if you've been locked up, if you haven't been locked up, but you have a story and you have some advice, you need to definitely be one of our rapid fire speakers on our live show, because it's important for the young people to hear your story. And I believe if they can hear what you had going on, etc., then they'll be like, oh, that's relatable. That guy just said that he drew circles in the back of his class. I draw circles in the back of my class, but he is executive for Salesforce. Oh, wow, I can be an executive for Salesforce. So we want people to connect on that level. But I also want people to understand all the different degrees that can go inside of the STEM places where we work and stuff like that. Because I heard this one lady, I went to the Black Tech thing that they had right before I left New Orleans. I went to one of the mixers, and somebody from super high up, she said something that I felt was dumb. She basically said she said something along the lines to where postal workers and stuff like that, like their jobs weren't important. And I'm thinking, like, you don't understand the area in which you're working in now. This area of Oakland, it was pretty much, you could be a postal worker, you could be a teacher, you can be a fireman, etc. All these blue collar jobs, and you can buy property, you can live happy and stuff like that. So when I hear people that look like us say things like to young folks, like, if you don't major in science, technology, engineering, or math, you're not important, I find that quite offensive. I think that I think they're doing us a disservice, because we definitely need Black folks that's working in the social sciences. We need Black people that's working in policy. We need Black people that's being bold enough to actually run for office and stuff like that.
Right.
We need to be in positions to where we shift policy. And we all know Policy starts on the level of education, social sciences, and then it go to the policy level, and then it go to the action space. So if we don't have Black faces in there, then we go continue to see some of the things going on in our communities that many of us don't like. So
Now,
always
Brother Aikens, let me ask you this question. Now, I like that the fact that you said that was very important. Since I've been on YouTube, social media being what it be, I've been on panels. I've gotten into debates with well-known people, Black folks on YouTube, and I sort of, in my introduction on YouTube, had to tell people, where I come from, what I'm about. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I've been on platforms where people will have all these negative things to say about the community, or that we should, as men, just go our own way. Meaning, why should you, as an educated brother, waste your time going back to the community? This is the scenario. Why should you, Brother Aikens, go back to the community, an educated man, and clean up what some would say is the mess created by no account men in the community and single mothers having babies? And now you're the cleanup man that goes back to clean up the mess that maybe another man or woman or the community has created. Right. Now, my argument to that is, if we just turn our backs to what's going on, these same youth are going to grow up, and they'll be the same ones breaking in your house, breaking in your car, knocking you upside your head. I don't know if you realize this, brother. I deal with Black men in particular, and all different race of men in the prison system. I'm a therapist. And the most biggest thing that they always say to me when I'm counseling and dealing with them, in some cases, is that they realize that they did not have the proper male figure in their life. And had they had that, they might have turned out different. Life might have been different for them. But what happened is the gang became their family and father. The negative, because there was no other one else to fill that void but the negative men in the community, such as gang members, that influenced them. And we know, as alpha men, and the work that you have done, I've done in the past, and what you're currently doing now, is that there's diamonds in the rough. You never know what that child is going to become. So with that said, what do you say to people who would say, hey, Black man, you wasting your time cleaning up as the cleanup man for something that some other Negroes done done?
You know what I say to that is, when I look at when those three young men that you showed in the picture, those are my three nephews. And so when I do the work, I'm always thinking about those three individuals, and I'm always trying to make sure that they're set up properly when I leave this space, and that they know that they can do anything in the world that they want. And they literally, the twins, they have been here since they were born in 2008. So they seen me launch Wheelo in 2010. And so they've been on the ride for the full 10 years. Kamar grew up in the programs. The twins grew up in the programs. And I work hard for this community because I grew up here. I feel like it's important to give back. And furthermore, Xavier University, the one thing that I really love about that school, everybody know it for being the place where it produced all the Black doctors, the pharmacists, and it's on point with the science, technology, engineering, and math. However, with that being said, it always focused on the humanitarian side of things. That university is private university, so they can force you to do things that you was like, I'm paying tuition, I shouldn't have to do this. Part of your graduation requirements is to do community service.
All right. And you're doing it, and you're doing this work in the heart of Oakland, right? Oakland.
Right.
And the brother in the heart of Oakland.
In the heart of Oakland. And then the other thing about Xavier that was so beautiful to me now that I appreciate and understand, one of my last psychology professors there, she asked the question, it was Dr. Brookover. She asked the question, what do y'all see yourself doing after y'all graduate from here? And everybody in that psychology class, like, I'm going to get my psych degree, my master's, I'm going to be a doctorate. And she challenged us to not work for the degree, but make that degree work for us, right? So anytime I can look at what's going on in Oakland, and I can apply a social model to it. And then I can take my MBA and apply business thinking to it, right? It's
Right.
not it's not rocket science. Like so when that's what I'm doing here in Oakland. Like I sit in some meetings and I'll be like, this is taking too long. This is all you have to do. Like it's that easy. You overthinking this, right? And I definitely don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the money because it was times when we first started Welo, it was times where Welo couldn't afford to pay me for like maybe what the first 4 years. It was times to where we was doing the work in the Oakland Unified School District, doing to how you get, they gotta refill up contracts and stuff like that. I remember one time we didn't get paid for 4 months, right?
Wow.
It was so I tell everybody at 10 years and I'm doing this level of work, I'm supposed to be doing this because or else God would have been and put me in a box. Not the coffin, but like I'd be staying outside too. But he's always made a way. I've always stayed optimistic. I believe in doing the goodwill of the people. And anytime I can look at a Royal Park out in East Oakland in the 70s, in probably the murder capital of Oakland, in that area, and I can get folks from all different nationalities, all different walks of life coming there to clean up a Royal Park, to be engaged, to participate in that on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, worked effortlessly. And we had US Bank out there feeding everybody food and educating people on financial literacy. And so when I see those different things happening, I'm like, okay, you're on point. You're working in the right direction. You're going to have haters. You're going to have some folks really that don't look like me. And let's just be honest. Anytime you put a nice looking African-American male in a suit and tie, we become a threat.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so-
Wait a minute. You need to repeat that. No, this is very important, brother. You need to repeat that.
Anytime you put a handsome African-American male in a suit and tie, we become a threat. And at first I used to be kind of teeter the line because I'm trying to do this education thing. I'm trying to do this social community leader thing. But this past year, after what I see go on in some of these schools and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, it's time for us to really take over the education system when it relates to Black and brown youngsters, because we have some individuals that's working at some school sites that are not well intentioned to educate our kids. And that comes from places of just being fearful of Oakland, fearful of the stories they heard about people from the community. And so if you're in the classroom and you scared of Oakland, you scared of the stories that you heard, you can't educate that youngster that's growing up in that because you scared. Like that little boy stands up and say, I don't like you, I hate you, really loud. You get razzled. Oh, I felt threat. Now when we got one of our kids, not for real, but we may have one of our kids that are powerful, got a big voice, but now they're getting railroaded either to special ed or to juvenile hall. And that's a problem. So I feel like right now, more than ever, even when we see all of this stuff playing out on TV right now, if we lose the focus of education and why education is important, why it's important to go to college. I had somebody tell me on a phone call, like, I disagree that everybody should go to college. And then I was like, if you disagree with that, I don't know what to tell you. But I agree that everybody should figure out their pathway of knowledge. Like you should gain some kind of skills. It may be trade school, it may be college, but you need some kind of certificate so you can take yourself to the next level. And I strongly believe that everybody's an entrepreneur. And I think everybody needs to figure out how to tap into their talents. And you tap into your talents by being well educated and finding out different types of things. You got to be diverse. Like if I stood outside in my community and I just allowed my community to engulf me, and I say, oh, I got to do everything that my neighbors are doing, then I'm doing something wrong. I'm a follower. And so we supposed to be leaders and followers, but we supposed to follow in good faith and find things like that. And it's really sad when you work in the space that I work in, because you have it both ways. You have some good days and you have some bad days where you see some of your youngsters dealing with life, but you got to allow them to deal with life. You got to allow them to go through it. So in the past week, I had two situations. One's great, but they situation not so great. So one of my former interns, he just crossed Alpha at Pepperdine University, and he just graduated, right? So that's a high reward. Another one of my former interns, he's graduating from Xavier University of Louisiana. That's even cool because I went there and I inspired him to go to the university. And then on the other hand, I have one of my kids that just graduated high school last year. They linked back up with me last week on Instagram, and I'm like, hit me up, catch up. And so I sent them my number. They called me. They was in jail for 7 months. So you have the great stories and you have the not so great stories. But me and the not so great story, we had a conversation about like, what's going to be the game plan? And he realized that this situation is real. Like, he was like, I didn't think that was going to be able to last a month in there. And so when you have that level of reach and that level of influence, everything that you're doing is leading in the right direction, because you want to bring the kids back to the center, right? Like, if you mess up, that's why I say mistakes are the grassroots of growing stronger. Did you learn something from the mistake? If you didn't learn from the mistake, then you're going to continue to have issues. And I believe that people have to self-check themselves. And that self-check comes from when you can actually look in the mirror and you can say, you know what, I messed up. I was
all right, Brother Aikens, let me interject real quick. I got a few good folks coming in the chat room. We got my man Canada Finest. We've got Wildflower Wisdom is in the house. Peace to you, sister. We got Back to the Basics in the house. We got Team J Brave TV. Thank you for being here. Jay Dunn came in the house. Sister Jay Dunn, I saw you. Who else do we have in here? The Black Ground Radio Network. Let me see. So we had some people checking for one. Thank you for being here. And we got my man WVN World Blog, which is better known as, BMT, changed the name of his channel, but he's coming to the chat. Thank you, brother. We're talking real talk here. Look, this is the deal. You know, see, the reason why yesterday I did a video where I was talking about, you know, the difference between how black men get treated when we stand up for our rights, like the Black Panther Party did on May 2nd, 1967 was the anniversary yesterday when they went to the state building. And I did a comparison and contrast between that and the white militia in Michigan having a gun. And I had a lot more people in here watching. And you know, when it comes to these type of conversations, some of our people don't want to gravitate to this type, because this is about accountability. This is about what you can do, because if we were in here chopping up about just nonsense, arguing and back and forth, we got some of our people that gravitate to that negative stuff. But this is about solutions, which is what I've always been about. Now, you sat up here and said that some young men that you talk to are doing well because they've been inspired by your mentorship. Then, of course, there's black men who maybe they went down another path and maybe they're regretting. I deal with this all the time at work. What's going on, Coogan 87 and Sister G coming into the house? I see you. But see, I think personally the rewards are better than the failures, because even the kids who fail, you can still turn them around.
Right.
Once they learn their mistake, because they're young, your mind, your brain doesn't fully develop until after 25 years old. So you're going to make mistakes through life. I just don't think that kids, I don't care whether they come from a single parent, 2-parent household, whatever. I don't think we should be throwing our youth away, because the larger world doesn't give a damn about them, in my opinion. And the last thing we need to do as black people is to forget about and to throw away our kids. Now, there's a lot of people that I've been on panels with, like I said before, who talk this nonsense about what's wrong with the community. And when you ask them, I've been on panels and I've asked these individuals directly, what are you doing? What is your solution? It gets so freaking quiet that you can hear a rat or a mouse pissing on cotton. They got nothing to say. Then I got people arguing with me about, well, just because you working with these many kids, that ain't going to really solve the problem because you can't get to every kid. You know what I mean? These, once again, are people who have no solution, no plan, right? No plan, no solution, just talk about a lot of stuff, but have not done anything.
Right.
You're doing more. I respect somebody like you more who is doing something. I can see you. You're not hiding behind an avatar. I don't hide behind avatars. And we can see you. Look at this brother, all right, shining like golden melanin. You're doing the work, and while you're doing the work, you got people on social media just blabbing their mouth. And when you ask them, what have you done, brother? What are you involved in? If you're not involved with working with you physically, then you can also donate to an organization that's doing the work. Because a lot of times people will cop out and say, well, I ain't got time. Well, okay, Negro, you can donate to an organization. You know what I mean? And when
you know what?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
It's really true what you're saying. Like, I have to tell somebody that don't necessarily work in the community service space. I was like, look, did one person show up? If the answer is yes, did y'all do something productive? If the answer is yes, then that was a great community service program. You don't base everything off of it have to be 1,000 people here. It have to. No. Did we show up? Did we get the project done? If the answer is yes, then we did a great job. And early on in my career, I used to be pissed off because I would see individuals that I know not doing the work. And I'm like, we kicking their butts. I'm like, literally. And then you have to remain humble and not turn it into a competition thing, because you don't want that to rub off in your work. And you want to make sure that when the rewards come, they'll come. And so that's what I always remember. The rewards will come when it's time for me to be a 6-figure guy. I'm gonna be that 6-figure guy or 7-figure guy. And at the end of the day, if I'm happy when I get out the bed, if I'm happy when I get up and do my job, and I'm not coming home miserable, and I'm happy to go to bed and I'm happy to get up, then I'm working from my passion. I'm working within my passion, and I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be. But now, if I was having questions about myself, why am I doing this? Why should I go to this school? Why should I call that kid? Why should I reach out to their parent? Why should I do a summer camp? It's stuff like that. And it's a burden on me. Then I'm not passionate about it. And I charge all of our Greek letter organizations that are Black. I challenge us to do more than just fundraise for something. And I think right now, more than ever, is very important for us to roll up our sleeves, and we need to get out there and we need to fight, because I strongly believe that's what's happening now. We're in a new civil rights era. I think all of this stuff is going to boil down to those of us, once again, marching on Washington and all that stuff. History's about to repeat itself. And we have to make sure that this time we don't lose focus on the goal after we get the reward. I wasn't around in the 60s. I'm an 81 baby. But what I can surely articulate and think, in my theory of what happened, is we got scared when they took out brother Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
Malcolm X. We got scared.
Let me cut in real quick. Hey, checking for you one. Isn't that what your name is called? And then you send a message talking about pronounce my name YT. Check. Now I'm reading your name. It's check in 4U1. There you have it. I said your name.
Check it for you.
Now I'm trying to do a show and listen to this brother and at the same time acknowledge everyone in the chat room. Like, we got a Mega Dreads gaming channel in the house. We got Uncle Frank's in the house. Destiny Forever's in the house. Let me see. I'm doing the best I can. Team J Brave TV in the house. Peace to everybody that's coming in. Don't believe me. I don't take any of you for granted in the chat room who are listening to the program, taking the information in, and I hope that you share the video. So let me just say this. Let me say this to you because, there's a lot of brothers out. Let me just say this. There's some brothers out there that say, well, where's the fathers for these kids that you're spending all your time working with? Have you, in your capacity in your time in Oakland, have you worked with kids or youth where you had some dealings with their father, the father that you had conversation, you talked to them, the fathers are telling you whatever their issues are? I mean, let's break it down, brother. You out there in the town.
I've had it all situations. And honestly, I think there's a notion out there that there's not Black fathers present. And I've seen a lot of Black fathers be present, be involved, be engaged, even some of the ones that may be living that life and stuff out there, but they very much so, they're trying to figure out a way how to make sure that their child don't end up there. I think we have a big issue when there's not a father around and the mom is raising the young man and the mom is also coddling the young man and not allowing the young man to grow and own up to stuff. And
stop right there. Stop right there. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the issues that folks talk about, that we have a lot of our young men, because of being raised by single mothers, and this is no disrespect to the ladies in the chat room, those that are listening, that sometimes when there's not a male energy in the environment or proper male energy, sometimes some of our youth grow up effeminate.
I'm not even talking about the feminine part. I'm talking about the accountability. The accountability part.
Okay.
So when they don't challenge their son to do something correct, or like they baby him, like they make excuses for him. No, you need to coach them up. You need to allow them, you need to challenge them, because you don't want this young man at 21, 22 sitting on your couch, still playing video games, and you still running to the store to get them Jordans. No, Jordans.
You're right.
Those Jordans, that video game, then they need to work for it, and they need to create that pathway. And I see it in amongst some of my family members, and I'm like, and I tell my nephews, if you ain't doing what you need to do, when you turn 18, you got to get out there and you got to kick rocks if you don't want to be productive and positive. Like, because you guys know better. And I think sometimes our women be so scared of losing their young men based on society, etc., that they baby him. And we don't need them to be baby. And I also think that sometimes, that's why I think it's so important to have Black mental health workers and counselors and mentors on these school campuses, because we recognize that our youngsters need to be resilient and they don't need to be baby. Don't give that child a reward for doing nothing. Like, I look at some of our parents and I'm like, you giving your kid a smartphone, an iPhone, you getting the welfare check, and then sad enough, your son can't even read. Your son getting all F's. So why the heck do he have that sophisticated phone? And he can't use it to better himself, right?
Right. So, let me cut in right quick. I'm gonna come right back to you. I gotta every now and then I've gotta call some folks out here. We got Sincere A Lucy in the chat room. Everybody, do me the greatest favor. I love this sister. She has a great show. She's very motivational herself. Check her out. Subscribe. Matter of fact, do me the biggest favor, because we have some folks in the chat room that are content creators. I think Mega Dread's gaming channel, if you're into gaming, check his channel out. Wildflower Wisdom, if you do have a channel, sister, if you're breaking down content or starting, let's check everybody's channels out. I believe Back to the Basics has a channel. Everybody in the chat room that may have a channel, we got Evie's Kitchen in the channel. Check her out. So take the time. And you know, YouTube has screwed everything up. You can't click into avatars anymore. So you have to actually write people's chat names down and then take the time to go back to their channel, look them up, and subscribe if you like. Please do that. I love that sister. Matter of fact, she's another one that I'm going to get on the channel and interview somewhere down the line. I got a lot of people that I want to interview down the line that I see in the chat room, but you know, I got to balance my personal life, work, family life, all that into one with YouTube as well. Let me also say this is a brother who's from Oakland. Now look at this on the screen. He said that you were on point. He said he's from Oakland. This is Uncle Frank's. He says, you know how these loudmouth, fast talking East and West Oakland ends be. They let the TV race the kids and buy them shoes, clothes to show their love. Meanwhile, daddy is ripping and running all over the Bay Area. Right. This is Uncle Frank's. He's another good supporter of the show, or the program. And that's what he had to say. He's from Oakland. Go ahead. Take off from there.
I just that sounds like something one of my great uncles or something would say. But I tell people the story all the time. Like my father, he was out there in the life, right? And so I knew early on that in order to make him do something for me, I had to go and make him do something for me. So when I learned how to catch the bus in the 4th, 5th grade, I was like, so on Saturday morning, you know what I used to do? I would take the bus to the turf where he was hanging out at, and I hate to say it, but when he would serve a knock, I have my hand out like, you go pay your child support right here. Okay, I got about $120. That's enough to go and get the shoes I want, or that's enough for me to go to the movies and hang out. But I had to make him be a fit support, right? And it's sad when you have to go and look for your dad versus your dad coming to check up on you, and vice versa. It's sad when you have to when you have to go look for your mama, right? And you ain't seen your mama. And many of our kids are going through that. But then at the same token of that, I have something that a lot of people don't have. I had a strong grandmother. So my grandmother she would always tell me, your job is to go further than your mom and dad. They made mistakes. You don't have to live by their mistakes. Don't hold them accountable. Just consider them not knowing any better. And so I took that to heart. And I pretty much always was like, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do this. And I think others can do the same thing. It's all about that intrinsic motivation, wanting to do better, wanting to be successful, understanding that you can go to college if you want to. If you don't want to go to college, you want to be an entrepreneur, fine, go be an entrepreneur. But also being willing to go on a journey of sacrifice until you get the reward. Like I tell many folks often that work in some of these higher up companies, they like, Dwayne, how can you do this? How do you do your job? I'm like, I love my job. And they're worried more so about the amount of zeros that they see in their check, right? But they're unhappy. Many of them are unhappy. And I'm like, I feel good. I got contractors that I pay. I contract out other nonprofit entities that work with us that do a service that we don't know how to do. And so I'm like, at the end of the day, you provide checks for households. You're doing something on a whole nother level. And sometimes being the executive director, you have to learn how to wait for your reward, right? Because if I got this great contract with OUSD, right, and I pay my folks pennies and I don't take care of them, they gonna talk bad about my organization, and then I'm not gonna have good people working for me. But all of our contractors can say, that we low take care of us. They make sure that we all right. They get something, we have something. Because
Right.
I've been there as a contractor on the other end to where I was like, I don't feel like I'm being treated right. And then going through the stuff that I went through early on, learning about 1099 contract work in the education space, I was like, if I ever have contractors work under me, I never want them to experience that, because that is a tough thing to go through. And I don't think that everybody can stomach going through something like that, especially fiscal, especially living in California.
Okay, let me read this off by there's two sisters that have come in that are very dynamic. We got Sister G here. She says, when I have the money, I buy a pair of Nikes and buy a Nike share as well. Treat yourself and invest in yourself at the same time. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because I know you're also an entrepreneur. Let me read this is another great sister here by the name of Golden N Melanin. I keep it real, just like that. With my children, do better than what your parents did and get more out of life than what we did. Okay, so you being an entrepreneur, brother, then you got that other aspect to you that I hearing you talking about, that you're using contractors, you're putting people, you're taking advantage of your economics, your independent economics, your entrepreneurship. Now, when you talk about entrepreneurship, see, because this young man, this brother here, brother Dwayne Aikens Jr. out of Oakland. He's in the Oakland area, graduated from the University of Xavier in 2005. This brother is about leadership, public speaking. At one point in time, you were the commissioner in the Park and Recs.
I am. So my title's
Okay.
now other than WeLo Executive Director.
Okay.
I am on the board of directors for Oakland Parks and Rec Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a commissioner for Oakland Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And
Let me just give go ahead.
I'm also on the board, on the advisory board for BART Title VI Environmental Justice.
Wow. Okay, brother. You may not know this, brother. I'm a certified recreational therapist too.
Oh, nice.
So I got a legacy working. Matter of fact, in Berkeley, they have a program. I used to work in Berkeley when I was in college. And I was involved in a program that brings together to bridge the gap between disabled children and non-disabled children, to not separate them, because a lot of times in our school systems we separate the kids, right? Mm-hmm. And they had an after school rec program in Berkeley that I was a part of a long time ago. I did a focus group, a whole 9 yard when I was graduating and working there. So I'm no stranger to the work that you have done in Park and Recs and working with kids and youth and getting them out. So I'm no stranger in that too. I've got a lot of years in that. So that's why when you said that, and when it was just buzzing in my ear, I said, this brother is doing fantastic things and I can relate to what he's talking about and what he's doing. So let me go here. As an entrepreneur currently.
Yes.
What led you? Did any of the work that you're doing currently now inspire you to get into being an entrepreneur, or was that something that you sort of seeked out before? How is all this? How do you work through all of these different hats that you're wearing, brother? You're like a chameleon here.
So I always knew that I wanted to work for myself, even when I got that first job with out of college, working as a advertising consultant. And then as a PE instructor right after Hurricane Katrina hit.
Okay.
I realized that I didn't want to go in the classroom and be a teacher. They were trying to push me to go and get my credential. I was like, I don't want to do that, because I don't see myself standing in front of the class proctoring and teaching to pass a test. That's not what I want to do. And after creating that MAPS group at a SIN school, I was like, I'm going to come back to this. And so I bounced around, did some different odd end jobs, worked with some other nonprofits. And then I went for a after school math instructor program, and I pitched my MAPS program. And this was in 2008, at the end of 2008. And the lady loved it. And she was like, I don't want you to teach math. I want you to come in and I want you to create your program, run it how you want to, but you also got to duplicate it for the ladies. And so I was like, oh, I can do ladies that power strategically. So I created 2 groups. And from there, me and Lamont, we hooked up in 2010, me, Lamont, and Treston. They brought the sports piece. I was super fired up. I just finished my MBA. So I had my Language of Leaders Institute proposal, and we put it together. We walked away from there saying we lead ours. And we was just on fire. We just hit the ground rolling. Having the MBA was really critical because before starting WeLo, if I wouldn't have linked up with Lamont, Treston, and them, I was going to just do the program through summer camp. And then what I want to do is be a nonprofit and small business consultant. So that's really what I want to do. I want to teach small and under-resourced companies how to leverage themselves as a big giant. Sometimes we see individuals that have a great idea, but the naming may be bad, the colors may be bad, the scenery may be off. And so when you're doing business for yourself, you gotta take pride in what you're putting out there. So if you have a barbershop and that's your barbershop and you own it, you have to say, this is going to be the atmosphere when you walk in my barbershop, right? And everything also don't need to be named after you, right? And one of the hard things that a lot of folks didn't understand that was going on, because this gentrification thing in Oakland has been happening, right? It's been going on. But my first professor at University of Phoenix, when I was getting my master's, he said, Dwayne, where do you stay? I said, I'm staying on 85th. And he said, how you get home? I said, I take the BART. He said, have you noticed that the colors of the poles are changing in East Oakland? And I said, what are you talking about? He was like, just go home, pay attention to that. Sure, I paid attention. Came back. He said, so what you think about the poles? And I told him, I said, they look nice. And he said, I want you as an MBA to be paying attention to your surroundings.
Wow.
He said, I want you to be paying attention to your surroundings. Anytime urban areas start fixing the roads, painting the poles, you better go to every meeting. You better show up to stuff, and you better start planning ahead, because they're about to change your neighborhood. And so I was like, okay. And I told, fast forward 2008, I told some of my homeboys, we was riding down to Everton Jones to go see the Barack Obama celebration. And so
you said Everton Jones, brother. That's bringing some stuff back to me.
We went to the big block party that Everton Jones threw to celebrate Barack Obama being the first black president of the United States. And I remember in the car, and I was like, y'all heard what he said. I was like, y'all heard what this brother said. This brother said we basically have no more excuses. He got the hardest job that they said no black man could get. So therefore, they gonna come at us super hard, and we got to be prepared. And if we not going after our own business endeavors, we're messing up. And we're going to have to get out of Oakland if we're not going after our own things. Wow. And sure enough, a lot of my friends aren't here no more. And I'm like, whoa, when I walk up 90th, I can't knock on childhood folks' doors, be like, hey, how you doing? They don't live there no more. So I'm like, we have to be rooted in our communities, and we have to know what's going on, and we have to have seats at tables. That's why I form relationships. And one thing that happened early on when we started WeLo is everybody wanted us to, since they seen 3 African-American males, we had a lot of older people that came from like the old age of things, just like, and nothing's wrong with that, but they didn't understand what was going on demographically. And so one of my internships in college was Walgreens. I worked as a management intern, and they make you do a whole bunch of modules before you can even get on the floor and do stuff. So you have to learn the front end to the back end, everything of the store, every department. Wow. And one of their business models is basically, have you ever noticed how when you go to each Walgreens, the employees look like the community that live there? You know,
I'll be honest with you, brother. I've never really paid a lot of attention to that. But
right. But
now that you say that, I find that very interesting.
Right. And so I knew that, and everybody wanted us to be like this super pro-Black organization. And we're like, we're about the whole youth. We're about the whole community. If you can show up, you can participate. And so that's where our leadership philosophy is a little bit different, because we like to work with every ethnicity of people. I believe that, especially in where our kids are growing up in the time, they're going to have to be able to work with somebody remotely in China or somewhere else, or from something else, in all different walks of life. And so they have to be able to mix and match in other groups. However, other piece is different. I tell my parents, because early on when we first started, some parents that didn't look like us were scared to bring their kids to summer camp, or because they thought it was only for Black kids. I was like, no, what you're going to get is your child is going to get exposed to a leadership philosophy that grew up on 90th and Bancroft, who mom was on drugs, who dad was in the system and was raised by his grandma and went to a historical Black college. That's the philosophy you go get, but your energy is welcome. So I would love to learn about your culture too. And so that's one proud point of my nonprofit that I really love, the fact that we're very diverse. We have kids from all different ethnicities. We got families from all different type of family households participating in our program, same-sex families, white, high economic to low economics. And we got all of these folks able to work and learn with each other, which is a beautiful thing.
Okay, let me say this, because my folks that follow me, they would appreciate that. I get the dynamics of working with different people, but I must ask the honest question. You know, right now they're telling us with COVID-19 that we're all in this together. But what I'm seeing as Oakland becomes more gentrified is that Black people still, and our Black youth, are still getting left out. And other groups have not gone through what we have gone through, either historically or currently. And I personally feel that we're living in a time in which we still need to make, in my mind, Black young males, Black children, Black people a priority, because other groups have generational wealth. There's other groups that are hurting, that are poor. We totally get that. But in particular, I believe that Black people is an area, as much as we want to, or society wants to get us into a multicultural point of view, Black people still are the ones who get left with nothing in our bag. And we're still the ones who get left in the back of the bus.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's where I was going earlier before you stopped, when I said that this.
I'm sorry about that.
It's a new civil rights era that we're living in. And so what I strongly believe that happened is our people got scared, and I believe some of our leaders, and we don't talk about it enough, and we don't question some of our leaders enough, and we don't challenge them enough to go to bat. I feel like some of them got paid to just chill out.
Right. But see, Brother Aikens, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be honest. This is kind of the show I run here. I'm going to be honest with you, brother. I look at you as more of a leader than the individuals that you're breaking down right now, saying it looks like they're getting paid to take the bag. I look at brothers like you that are in the community, that are entrepreneurs, that are running organizations. All right. I look at you as the leader, because usually the leader is the person you look at in the damn mirror every day. You are the leader as far as I'm concerned. You have my complete respect. If you call me up and say, info, frat, I need you here to help me with this program, I'll get up, get in my car and drive and zoom 45 minutes or whatever, an hour out from where I live at to get to Oaktown and participate in any of your programs. So I'm telling you that right now, which I'm getting myself back into the fold of Alpha anyway, but I'm prepared to do that. Now, how many of these politicians can you pick up the phone and say, hey, can you? And they'll be like, before you can even talk to them, you got to go through their secretary, their publicist.
But I think for me, that's not a fair question for me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I got good rapport with.
Oh, okay. I know.
With our local politicians, so that's not fair. They do answer for me.
All right, but I still will say to you, that you are, to me, more of a leader. To me, brother, on the grassroots level.
But that was one of my goals in high school, college, was to always make sure that I was like, you need to know the people that run your city. Like, I
Okay.
feel like it's very important. Like, you need to develop some type of relationship with them so that they can know who you are. And when they're talking to you, they know that you're somebody that means business.
Okay, I get what you're
And so,
saying now.
yeah, so I have good rapport with them, but I do feel like after civil rights that folks just they didn't fight hard enough for individuals like me, who's an 80s baby. Like, we experienced hell growing up, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like right now, and I feel like after all this stuff pans out, those of
Mm-hmm.
us, me included, I'm a part of this because I'm one of the young progressives here. We have to be sitting at these tables like, this is what our communities need. This is what we want. This is what
Right.
we have, and we need to demand it.
You're
And
right.
we don't need to take our foot off of it. And so many times I feel like we sometimes as people, we tend to we be over thankful, like, I'm just thankful to be here. No, you belong here. Like, stop worrying about hurt somebody's feelings. And earlier, what I was saying is, this year, I just remember that hunger that I had inside of me when I was in high school, in college. And I used to say this thing to myself: don't dangle your job in front of me. I might take it. And that fire is back lit in me to be like, okay, there's some things out there that you want. There's some things out there that you don't like. And you're going to have to push the envelope. And folks that are writing policy,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't want to be a politician, but if I want to influence policy and I got an idea that'll
Mm-hmm.
work, and they struggling with an idea and they can help impact the community, then sit down with me on the couch so I can give you a plan. Because one unique thing about me, if you tell me your idea, I can help you draft it in 15 minutes to what it
Wow.
look like as a business. Like, I can
Okay.
come up with creative marketing and all that stuff. My friends
Mhm.
often joke me like, you should have been in marketing and advertising.
Well,
Like this.
brother
So,
Aikens, let me say this. Let me read what Golden Melanin Sister is saying. She says, on a large scale, we are going to have to and take charge and be responsible for our own lives, or to really don't care about, for those who don't really care about this. This is what I want to say to you. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a photograph of you with tell me if I'm wrong or right, with the mayor of Oakland. And now I get where you're saying, I get what you're saying, brother, when you're saying that if we don't stand up as a community and as individuals and tell these politicians what we expect of them, what we want, because they work for us, we don't work for them,
right.
and that we show them that we're real, then you command more respect that way, and you could probably get more things done when you are involved. Now, with that said, what is the relationship that you have with the mayor of Oakland, in terms of, you have her ear? Have you told her some of your concerns, what you think is best, what you think the community can benefit from? Go ahead if there's anything that you can add around that.
Yeah, so Mayor Schaaf has been very supportive of the work that I do here in the community. She listens to me. I share ideas with her. I talk with some of her staffers, shoot them ideas. Have you been thinking about that? One thing that I was actually going to do, because I'm a man of many hats, but I couldn't do it. One thing that I wanted to do is, I really wanted to work more on the housing issue. And so she had a housing position open up, but that wouldn't have been fair to We Lead Ours and the kids and all the things that I do if I would have went after that position. But that was a place where I felt I had some unique ideas, to where I felt like I could have supported her really well on those things. But she's been very supportive of the work that I do. She often show up to our events and activities. She does, Mayor Kwan does, district council people do. So we get a lot of support from the different local politicians. I think that all of them inherited a mess. I also think that Oakland, it's definitely time for not only just the mayor, because I'm not going not gonna go there but I've seen some stuff behind the scenes to where certain people in power have, just because they dislike her, they tried to make her look bad, and it was just so tacky, and it was a turn off. And I had to have a talk with my nephews because they were with me, and I was like, "You see what that was? That was just the ugliest politics. Oakland should never play politics like that because we're not Washington D.C. We are a city, and when you purposely try to make somebody look bad, it's just not a good look. But that's never the narrative that's shown on the news and stuff like that. And it's like what you said, when you actually get to know somebody and hear what they're about. And I often have to check some people and be like, she's not racist. She inherited a mess. And I'm like, you can't call everybody that don't look like us racist because they're on the other end of an opinion.
Well, let me say this. I lived in Oakland during the time when the Oakland school district of the schools in the Oakland area got taken over by the receiver who came up from LA. It was the terrible time at that time in Oakland.
I just graduated.
Yeah, exactly, brother. I was living in the city, married at the time. And what I noticed what was wrong about remember the network Soul Beat?
Yeah,
which doesn't exist anymore. I mean, there was a lot of criticism of Soul Beat, but let me just say this. What really disturbed me is the fact that you actually had black folks, all different folks in Oakland in the school district, not all the teachers, but some of the administrators who look like me and you and the other races of people, right, who were actually the reason why the school district was losing money because they were doing they were doing very bad things, spending money, all sorts of stuff, which is why the receiver had to come in and do what they did, because the very people that were entrusted to run the school and various things of that nature, the adults, they failed the children, not the other way around. And part of the problem in Oakland, and you're right, is that there's been a legacy of some really bad things that have happened politically, socially, and each person that comes into office, they get a big bunch of slop on their shoes that they have to clean up. That was created from past administrations and neglect. What I've noticed about Oakland, it's a beautiful city, but it gets overshadowed by San Francisco, which people always paint Oakland as this violent city. But I tell you, living in San Francisco for many years, growing up there, that San Francisco has just as much problems with crime and all sort of things, if not more than Oakland, but it never gets publicized the way Oakland does because San Francisco is a tourist city. It's a city by the bay. It's marketed across the world, and Oakland gets overshadowed for the positive things that go on in the city of Oakland with brothers like yourself and many others that are doing lots of positive things. Now, let me bring this up. This is a side note, brother. Mm-hmm. You know that there was a sisters in Oakland, in West Oakland, that were living in a home.
I heard about
the Oakland police came in and took them out. There are ladies that are part of homeless mothers, women for, I don't know if people understand this. It's very expensive to live in the Bay Area. There's a lot of people that are struggling, but I wouldn't necessarily say I blame that on the current mayor. I blame that situation on everything that has occurred even before that mayor that has been festering in terms of housing and proper housing in Oakland and everything that black people are concerned about. Now, I said a mouthful there. You get where I'm coming from, though, brother. I had to bring that up.
Right. And I think it's, again, like, it's more so, how do we deal with our folks in public policy? And sometimes we can't just put somebody in office because they're from our neighborhood. Are they super popular? Like when you go into those council member seats or whatever you're doing, are you working for one of these for one of the politicians? You need to be well polished, right? And you need to be ready to work. Like Joe Biden just said that he's looking for a vice president, and he prayed that it's a woman. Basically, he didn't that there's somebody that on day one that they can go to work because they about to inherit a mess. Like, so
Right.
it's kind of like you can't, and sometimes we tend to vote only on name recognition and we don't do no homework on the person. And we can't keep operating like that. Oakland is kind of like, it's kind of like a southern city. Like if you can flex your last name or do a little something, you gonna make it to the top. And like I remember when I first got back from college, several people was like, well, just go to the city and fill out an application and drop your last name and say this and say that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to get a job like that. It's good to get referred to something, but I don't think that's right. If I'm not the candidate that really should be having that job and I'm not qualified.
You're not qualified, yeah.
Right. So we have to make sure that we put the right people in office. We have to make sure that we, as Black folks, have some type of vetting process here. And we need to be comfortable having a conversation with a politician. One thing that I don't like is when you have public leaders, right, and they're doing their political thing, right, and you disagree and you curse them out, slander them and stuff like that. I tell anybody, whenever you sit down with a leader or a person, you have to speak with them the way that you would want somebody to speak with you. You have to always practice being empathetic, even when it's hard, even when you agree to disagree. And I tell everybody that I work with, if we're working on a project, we may have a disagreement or agreement right now, but afterwards, after we finish this project, no hard feelings, we can still go sit down and socialize and hang out and be cool and cordial. And so, but if I'm, for example, if I'm the mayor of Oakland or the police chief or something like that, and I probably did something that was kind of like a D average or something like that.
Right.
Even when I mess up, hold me accountable, but don't come up there, you black, bloop, 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 bloop. Don't do that, because I'm not going to listen to you from a caring ear to carry your perspective, because you're cussing me out. So your opinions never go get out there. So you have to treat people how you want to be treated when you're challenging them on their policies.
Wow. Let me just say this. We got Dollar Will in the house. Uncle Frank's Wildflower Wisdom is still in here. We got Golden Melanin. Let me see who else we got in here. We got some good people. Sonia C's. Let me shout out Sonia C's, who's been following me since the very beginning. Of course, we got Check-In for You One, Back to the Basics. Mega Dreads Gaming's been hanging in there with us. Miss Tiffany Jackson, Miss Jackson, thank you for being here, sister. Sincerely, Lucy is still in the house, I believe. Lady M has come in. Peace to you. A lot of great folks that have come in. Let me read some of these things that people are saying. I'm long-winded, so I can talk to anybody. And Dollar Will said that he believes that Oakland is more better, if I'm not mistaken, for Black folks now, if ever. Now, before we get close to the conclusion of this particular program, what is your thoughts about what Dollar Will said, that maybe things are better for us? What do you think?
Maybe things are better for us in what magnitude?
Let me make sure I don't quote the brother wrong. Brother Dollar Will, put that message. Let me see if I can find his message again. Oh, let me see. Here it is. Here we go. Another message by him. How is Oakland different from DC and Brooklyn and Oakland, Uncle Frank? So during in the chat room, people. Yeah, a lot of people are having conversations in the chat room, debates, the whole 9 yard. We got the Underrated Darkness who's come in the house. Peace to you, Underrated Darkness. Good to see you. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. And Miss Sincere Lucy has just blessed me with a super chat. I appreciate that, sister.
Thank you for the super chat.
Once again.
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate that. So we got my main man, Underrated Darkness, who's come in. Please check him out. Now let me see what he was saying, because maybe I misquoted him. He says, I'm asking, is it better? I don't live there. Now, okay, so now, is Oakland better? Is Oakland better now than it was when you first got there, brother?
I think my favorite city, I'm biased. My favorite city is. I don't think no place on earth is better than New Orleans. I love New Orleans. Like I'm here in Oakland, and I love being a Oaktown native, but I feel like we're losing a lot of the culture, similar to what happened to Brooklyn. Uh, I think Oakland is better than DC only because it's easier to get around. Like you have DC and everything around it, but it's so spread out. And I'm one of those people that I don't like to drive. I prefer to walk and like to cross the street and stuff like that. So if I have to pick out all three, I'm staying in Oakland, Brooklyn second, then DC.
I hear you. I hear you. Just before we get close to conclusion, brother, let everybody know in the chat room any upcoming projects that you're involved in, that you're working on currently, and then where they can find you on your social media. And then before we get ready to end, we got to talk about your podcast. We're going to get to that after you tell everybody about projects or where they can find you on social media. And then let's get into as we get near the end of this, let's talk about the podcast that you've created. Now, go right ahead with the first question I asked.
So right now, my nonprofit, we're shifted to social distancing mentoring. So we're doing two things with that. We have on Thursdays, we do a podcast with professionals and youth to create youth voice. It's called We the Scenario. You can find that on Anchor, Spotify, and a couple of other platforms. And you can also look for the YouTube channel, We the Scenario. You can also look for that on IG. We have Mentoring on the Fly, which we're doing the rapid fire Wednesday mentoring session. So you can be a professional or have a story, and you can find the Mentoring on the Fly handle at IG. And then you can always check our Instagram page, We Lead Hours, and we're gearing up for Giving Tuesday. So you can donate to We Lead Ours. We're a 501c3 org. You can go right on our website, www.weleadours.org, and you can make a donation, any amounts. But we're shifting a lot of our mentoring service to doing stuff off with the computer away so we can still be impactful. And we're working on our mentoring help app.
Okay, let me say peace to Brother Underrated Darkness. He gave me the super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Once more,
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate that. Now, this is exciting right now because you got the YouTube channel. And what I need to do, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. No, brother, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you, everybody listening, when this is all over, I'm going to go back into the description of this video. I'm going to put a link to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to get back in contact with you so I can find that. I'm going to find that YouTube channel. I'm going to also put a link to your podcast on this particular description. So with that said, let's talk about the podcast that you have so graciously come up with, brother. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the Time to Dig Deep podcast. That's my own personal podcast. That's my way of getting back to what I said I wanted to do when I first got my MBA, which is work with other nonprofit entities, small business owners, people that are interested in being an entrepreneur, and just add my secret sauce to their ideas and support them in that magnitude. So I created the website. That's up, timetodigdeep.com. And then this the podcast, Time to Dig Deep podcast show. It's pretty cool seeing yourself in the cartoon.
Yeah, I like that, man. I'm gonna have to, hey brother, I'm gonna have to talk to you. I know how to do a few little special effects myself, but I may need to talk to you.
I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
One of the cartoon artists on Instagram hit me up and was like, I like your pictures. Is there anything that you need done? I was like, no, I'm not trying to spend any money right now. We got this COVID-19 stuff going on. I need to be smart about what I'm spending. And I was like, wait. And I started thinking about it. I was like, you are doing this this podcast. That might be good art. And so me thinking that I hit him.
Yeah, I mean, this is
I was
This
like,
is
I got
real
this
nice,
picture
brother.
with headphones. I was like, this might be cool. And I never wear headphones. Like I literally
Yeah.
bought those headphones that day because
Yeah, this look nice, brother. I might have to talk to you off the air and try to get in contact with that artist and
I'm really excited
get some
about
done.
that. But that
It's nice.
podcast, if anybody's interested in coming on that podcast, it's more so short, sweet, straight to the point. So like 15, no more than 15 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, look, brother, this is what I'm going to do.
Information, stuff like that. So you can just, it's a way for me to give back, share advice, and stuff like that, and help others, and hopefully
Cool.
other entrepreneurs.
Cool. Well, look, while we've been talking today, discussing these issues, I'm going to put a small segment of this on my podcast, but I'm also going to bring you back just to do something on the podcast itself.
Okay.
As well, because I do that as well, and what you're doing is just fantastic. Another thing I wanted to ask you, through all the success that you're having right now, has there been situations where people have either turned you down or given you pushback? I hate to ask this question because this is something that happens.
Yes,
Do you get discouragement from people who look just like us, who say, "Oh, what you doing that for? That ain't gonna work. What's wrong with you? Our people lazy."
So I'm gonna be very honest about
Thank you.
question. Yes, we have been told no several times, but I'm a creative, and so I'm like, if I see something and I want to do it, I'm still gonna make it happen. Eventually, you'll see what I'm doing. But what I have noticed is a lot of our donors and support system, either they A, don't look like us, and B, they're not from the area. And a lot of the donors that are like just individual donors, they are mostly from the East Coast and the South. And they support what we have going on in California. And also Southern California folks donate and support. And then we get a lot of support from white women,
Wait a minute, I got to stop you there. No, this is the question that I have to ask, and my audience needs to hear this because, on my channel, I ain't going to lie, I tend to speak more in terms of Black first. Mm-hmm. Because my channel pretty much is catering to information that Black people need to hear, need to know, and exchanging of information. Now, I gotta do why do you think personally that white women are supporting what you're trying to do? Is it now? I hate to ask this controversial question, but I'm gonna have to. Are you getting more support from white women than Black women?
We get more support from white women.
Wow.
And then elderly Black women.
Okay.
So those our two top donors, white women and elderly Black women. When I say elderly over the age of 60.
Okay, now I must ask you this question. Because there's demographics, there's age, there's different generations.
Why do I think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand quite well why the older generation would support. What's going on with the millennials and maybe even I'm a Generation Xer where we're a little bit older.
I think I sell education and mentorship, honestly. And it sucks that sometimes people don't see the price value when you invest in your child with soft skills. And some folks think that pretty much your son can catch, so he's going to be Marshawn Lynch. No, it don't work like that.
Right.
And it wasn't until we started the Bay Area Seminoles, which is our football and cheer program, and it's turned into its whole umbrella of sports. That's when we started getting some younger folks to start donating, when we created the Sports Avenue. And we knew this early on, like when we were blessed enough to get contracts with the school districts and build out programs and stuff. That got my business partner right there.
Oh, okay. Lamont Robinson. What's up, brother?
I didn't even know he was watching.
Wow. Glad to have you here, brother. If you haven't subscribed to the channel as well, man, I'm going to have to this is what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to have to get both of you back up here together
Yeah.
to have you all on here. But go ahead, brother. What you were saying?
But yeah, we knew early on that in order to engage our community, that we was going to have to transition into sports. And how do we create a sports program and then add leadership, add summer camp, add those things as value to the sports program in order to cultivate our youth? Because we always say that we want our kids, we don't mind if you be an athlete, but we want you to be on and off the field. It's an art to be like Stephen Curry. It's an art to be like LeBron James. They are on and off the field athletes. They can get injured, God forbid, and stop playing basketball today, but they go still be able to make a way off the field because they business savvy and they know how to code switch. They can do any type of commercial. All of those different things. They well versed, and so we want our youngsters to be well versed. We want you to have plan A, B, and C. So we just need to make sure that we continue to be creative, be open, and like our philosophy is, if you show up to a program, we not gonna turn you down. Like I tell people all the time, that youngster can cuss me out, but as long as they show up tomorrow, we gonna talk about it. And I'm not gonna treat you no different because you're a young kid. I cussed out a teacher before.
Let me ask you this question. Wow, brother, you really I'm still disturbed by this. Let me ask you this. This is a very important question. White women are being more supportive, and older black women are supportive, but then maybe the younger generation of black women in Oakland, I'm generalizing here, may not be as supportive as the older generation of black women. What about, let me ask this, it's very important. In terms of black males, what's the demographics in terms of age demographics of black males that are supporting or may not be supporting? I got a reason why I'm asking this.
I feel like we get a good support from folks that are African-American males, fiscal support, the 30s and up.
Okay.
30s and up. I think it's also based on where we stay at. So for example, black males from the South and the East Coast, depending on where they at in the East Coast, they tend to donate a little bit better. And it could be because their money can go a lot further and they have the resources, the additional resources, be like, oh, let me chip in and stuff like that. Versus here, if you rent is crazy and then all of the other stuff that you got to pay for living in Oakland and living in California, it could be difficult to support a nonprofit. So what I often do is I tell my friends and folks that want to donate, folks that can. So for example, if we did a fundraiser tomorrow, like we got the Giving Tuesday fundraiser coming up. So if I see you donate in May for the Giving Tuesday, I don't ever want to burn out my donors. So if we doing something in July, I'm not going to ask you to support. I'm going to wait until November to come back to you. So I try to look at who's donating and who's doing what when. But I would say that three Oakland natives that's been very supportive fiscally is Marshawn Lynch, Josh Johnson, and Lorenzo Alexander. All three football players, Marshawn Lynch, Josh Johnson did the Family First, so they actually support us. And then you also have Lorenzo Alexander with the ACES Foundation that supports what we have going on. And so those three key constituents that support our nonprofit, that like where rubber may be against the road, and we know that we can count on those guys to pull through and come through for us.
Okay. Now, with that said, it looks like, which is what I think is important. It looks like you've got black men across the board that are taking command in this program and supporting it. You've got older black women supporting it, but maybe not a younger demographic of younger black women.
But you know what? Working with some millennial groups.
Okay.
Some millennial groups, they support in different ways. Fiscal. Okay. You probably not gonna get the millennial to come and support. Get them to volunteer though. You can get them. But and then you have for some reason that millennial group, they don't really like to pay for stuff. So. Right.
And then of course you have a contingency of white women that are supporting and what have you. This is the thing, though, and I'm glad that black men are stepping up to support this program, because I think it is black men who need to take command of supporting programs that are specially geared towards helping young black youth, particularly black males. And who needs more to be mentored by black males and young black youth, in my opinion. But let me say this, though, to you. Sometimes I've always thought that sometimes when you don't get support from the black community, in some cases, it comes out of the fact that sometimes black people don't always like each other. And there's a sort of jealousy and envy. It's a sort of a barrel and crabs in a barrel when they see you trying to ascend somewhere and they want you to stay right down at the bottom with them. I think all groups of any race have these problems within their own culture. Of course, it gets publicized more when it's black folks. But I always thought that when I see those patterns, that it's sort of, maybe it comes from that, a lack of understanding, a lack of respect for one another, because we've been taught and conditioned in America to have these negative views of each other. Now, you said Marshawn Lynch is supporting your program. Well, remember, Marshawn Lynch was looked at as this thug football player, this street, you know what? And look he's probably doing more than most of these cats out here who talk a good game, and he's doing more than some of these cats who get up on these social medias talking about the black community, this and that. But here's the man who would be labeled as a thug doing more than the most.
He's doing a lot for our community, and he's I think him being here and coming back and
right
the work and reaching out to individuals that he support, that he rock with. Like, he went to school with me in Lamont, so it's kind of like he values certain things, and like, if he like what you got going on, he's going to invest. Like the lady was talking about investing in yourself. That dude's investing in himself, right? And so you can't help but to love that. And then it's funny that you say that. I went to about hating on people. People try to get in your space and try to and don't know how you got there, or just a little jealous. That picture that you talk about with me and the mayor, I ended up going to a Black History event after that.
Yes, sir.
After that, and I had somebody say that you lost your black card because I had a picture with Mayor Shab. And I was like, you living in a whole nother world. But I have to remember who Dwayne was, and how even getting in a argument or feeling disrespected from that foolish comment, it wasn't worth my time and energy.
Okay.
And so, because ultimately I'm doing the right thing.
Right. You are, brother.
I can communicate with the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I can communicate with my city council member. I know who fire chiefs are and stuff like that, and police chiefs and stuff like that. So therefore, I'm doing the right thing for We Lead Ours, because we need to know these people. They working for our community, just like we working for our community. So therefore, we must know these folks.
Right. You're empowering yourself, which is what we need to be doing as a people. Let me just say this to you, brother, as we come to a conclusion. I want to, thank you for coming on board to speak to me, speak to everyone today, to not only promote, but tell people what you're doing and to inspire people. Because if you can do this where you are, this can be duplicated all across the country by any black man, black woman, anybody of any group who feel a need in their community. So I want to thank you for that. I know it took a while to get this all going. Both of us are busy guys, but I'm glad that I had you on here, and believe me, I'm going to bring you back to do some follow up on how things are progressing in the program. And also, brother, you got my number. If you ever need me to come down, assist in any way I can, brother, as an alpha man to another alpha man, that's what we're supposed to be about.
All good.
So we're going to do that.
And one thing that you just said.
Okay.
We would for our sister cities, that looks like Detroit.
Oh, okay.
In New York, Atlanta, New Orleans, Chicago, inner city Chicago, South Side Chicago, those type of cities, Miami. WELO would love to open up a WELO headquarters or office in each one of those areas, because they have the same community needs that we have here. And so that's one of our goals, is to make sure that this program is duplicated in other communities. At 10 years old, and you in the nonprofit game, and the most unique thing about We Lead Ours everybody needs to know that we are not federally funded. So we're
Okay.
really a grassroots nonprofit organization. All of our programs are either free or zero to affordable costs. And when I say affordable costs, sometimes no more than $550 for a full program. And that
Okay.
program looks like 5-6 weeks, etc. So yeah.
Let me ask you this question, because we're both members of Alpha Phi Alpha, and you know they're doing some great things in Sacramento. You know, they're doing some great things with the Alpha Academy in Sacramento, with mentoring young men. Let me just say this to you: how are you able to balance between the work that you're doing personally within the community and balance that with the work of Alpha? Actually, the work that you're doing is the kind of work that Alpha men do in our organization. But how do you balance between that, the work that you're doing, along with also the work of Alpha Phi Alpha? Because as Alpha men, and you know, we always say there goes an Alpha man, and you know, out of the blackness of night that covers us, black as a pit from pole to pole, we think forever God's may be for our uncomfortable souls. You know, we've gone through a lot of tribulations as black men, as Alpha men, and we join these organizations to interlock in brotherhood with other black men. Let me put this picture of you up here at an event: home base, empowerment, young minds. So, you know, education, engagement, enlightenment. This is some of the things that our organization is about. And there's Brother Aikens there, right next to that banner. That's our fraternity crest at the bottom. That's what we are about. That is what we are about, folks. And so how do you balance those responsibilities as an Alpha man, doing the work of Alpha along with the other things that you are involved in? How are you doing that?
So pretty much, I'm really about civic engagement. And so any organization that I join has to have a civic engagement component. That way, so all of my work can actually, and energy can be put in one area. For example, when I was on the board of directors for Keep Oakland Beautiful, I actually got them to pretty much make sure that we were focusing on East Oakland. Oh, my cousin just jumped in here.
Yeah. Hey, I know your cousin well back in the day.
Yeah,
when we brought a couple of brothers through the organization, when I was a dean of a couple of lines we came through from San Francisco State. Yeah. Many a late nights we were up with brothers at Brother Aikens' house or at some facility in the community of Oakland, initiating brothers, and and we were doing things. We were coming in, and Brother Aikens was like, "What y'all been doing?" Coming in the late night, and you know, he was the area director, and he had to sign off on many documents when we were bringing brothers through the organization and making sure that we had our community projects right. Yeah. So let me say to Lawrence Aikens, peace and love to you, brother. And I think your cousin's living in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
No, he's in Virginia.
Oh, he's in Virginia. I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought he was in Atlanta. Maybe he was at one time. I don't know. But hey, look, Lawrence, it's good to have you here, brother. Good to have you. Continue on, brother.
Yeah, so just making sure that the orgs that I join are like mine. So I don't want to be doing something for food and hunger and not in my personal mission, which is WELO, don't have nothing to do with food and hunger, right? Mm-hmm. So I try to make sure that I align myself with orgs that are progressive, similar, or can help us provide a service that we've been trying to do. Like, so joining forces with the Oakland Parks and Recreation, it's provided partnership and stuff like that. So they bring out volunteers to our community service events. We bring out volunteers. So you have more manpower, and we're servicing one of the parks. So it's a win-win for both groups and stuff. So just really align himself. But as far as the fraternity, Brother Donald Smith, he was pretty much like, because at first I had stopped being active, stopped paying my dues, and he rolled up on me and was like, "You coming to this meeting?" And I was like, "Well, I'm trying to do this." And he was like, "Do it within the chapter." He was like, "Everything that you're doing in the community that we can possibly partner on, partner with the chapter. We need to have a presence out in the community." So my chapter brothers, they trusted me with with utilizing things that WeLo was doing, like the park cleanups and some of the political engagement activities and stuff like that. They trusted me to work with some of those things. So I've been kind of like the community guy. And so that got me back into the fold. That got me back motivated to be a part of the chapter. That got me feeling more supported about the work that I want to do personally, and felt like I can do it within my house and still be an example. What I do as far as like anything that's related to philanthropy and stuff like that, and fundraising and youth development programs, I don't do the thing to where I'm being a hater and be like, well, WeLo can do that. What I do is I advise and give advice, and then I give feedback if it's something that I feel like would be a conflict of interest. I'll give advice and feedback and say that I can't participate on that committee because it sounds too similar to some of the things that my nonprofit is doing. And I don't want it to become a time where you'd be like, Dwayne heard this in the meeting, he took it back to WeLo and they did it before us or something like that. So I keep myself away from certain things that may be a conflict of interest. And similar thing with the Oakland Parks and Rec Foundation. One thing that we're doing on the board of directors for the Oakland Parks and Rec Foundation is we're trying to develop community hub parks. So as you know, City of Oakland, the parks, they don't get a lot of money. And so what we're trying to do is turn some of the parks that are like park deserts where people are not playing in them and they still got a recreation center and it's just no activity. We're trying to find out who are the community groups, community individuals that's doing Zumba and fitness stuff, all those different things, and get all of those communities people into that hub and using it as pretty much a community workspace to empower the parks. And while I have information to that, I don't want it to be a thing where it's like, oh, WeLo knows the blueprint, so WeLo get the center and everybody got to come through me. So just being mindful of that and learning how to separate myself away from certain things and like, and build up other nonprofits as well. Me and Lamont and Tristan, we joke all the time. And if you know anything about Oakland lingo, I say that our organization is the plug. Like, so we got access to everything. Like the craziest thing is a frat bro that was moving out here from the East Coast. I got a random call and they was like, "Is this brother Aikens?" I'm like, "Yeah." They like, "I'm such and such." And I was told when I get to the Bay Area that I need to call you. And so from some bruh that see me on social media and like, Dwayne knows everybody. Like, so I say that We Lead Ours is the plug, and we've been able to be the plug is because we're not scared to partner with other nonprofit organizations, individuals. And I feel like the more partnerships and relationships that we have, the more opportunities our kids that do come directly to us have. And I want them to be able to have so many opportunities, because it's going to be that time where they're standing on that hill and they're going to have to think, do I make a left or do I make a right? And what's going to be the outcome of each one of those goals? And I don't want them to do nothing stupid like many of us did when we were in our early 20s or our teens and stuff like that. I want them to be thinking like, I can do better. I can get to the next level, and I'm going to be better, and not be scared of going through adversity.
Okay. Well, brother, once again, I want to thank you for being here today, taking another time out of your busy schedule. I know it's the weekend. You know, people want to relax or do what they got to do, but I'm glad you came on. I want to say peace out to your partner, your business partner, Lamont, brother Lamont, Lawrence Aiken, Frat 06 to you back. Thank you for coming through. Everybody in the chat room, I really appreciate you also being here. And we got to do this again, do some follow-up as to seeing how things are progressing in your career and what you're doing in the community. Definitely want to promote the channel, your podcast. So we're going to put that in the description of this video.
Got a lot of links. I should have sent you some of the flyers.
Yo, just you know what? After this is over, brother, you can send them to me and I'll plug them in however I can plug them in. But like I said, I'm going to bring you back on because I want to see the evolution and how you progress in what you're doing and where it's going to take you as you gain more wisdom and experience. And I want to hurry up and be able to do this before something happens where when I'm trying to get in contact with you, I got to go through 3 and 4 people and handle it. Brother,
I'm never gonna be
sir.
that. I'm never gonna be that Hollywood. I'm never gonna be that Hollywood.
Well, sir, if you want to talk to Brother Aikens, well, I'm his publicist, and you're going to have to, we're going to have to make an appointment. Well, what's the closest appointment I can get? Oh, that'll be 3 months from now, sir.
We're not gonna be that Hollywood.
So I don't want to be in the back of the bus trying to get to you, brother, as you grow in your empire of what you're trying to do in the community and personally. And so I wish you nothing but best success. And I'm going to say this to you with much love, frat. Please do everything you can to protect yourself from this COVID-19. Just be safe. You know, my heart, you know what I'm saying? You know, there's alpha men out there that are doctors, that are medical personnel, that are fighting this thing, and some out there that have probably contracted it. Yeah. So, brother, please be safe in all your endeavors out there, too, in doing what you're doing, but protect yourself, too.
Of course. You too.
Thank you, brother. So I'm glad to have. So take care of yourself, folks. That was brother Lawrence. Well, I'm about to say your cousin's name. Yeah. No, that's brother Dwayne Aikens Jr. And I gotta be honest with you, you do look just like your cousin.
We all look alike.
You almost at one time I thought maybe he was your father. Y'all look so much alike.
We play that joke on people at the convention. They'd be like, "Wait, we didn't know your son was that old."
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Before I go, I got a great. We got DJ OZ in the house who's just super chatting me. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Who is that, brother?
That's Bernard Osborne, I believe.
Osborne, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Osborne, brother, subscribe to the channel. Look, everybody in the chat room and those that are familiar with Brother Aikens, share this video throughout your social media, throughout your everything that you do, so that more people can hear this video, can hear what this brother is saying. And also make sure that they check out his podcast, his YouTube channel that's coming. And I'm going to put that in the description of the video. We're going to promote that. I'll promote that even when I'm doing other shows, brother. I'll be promoting your podcast and what you're doing, even when I'm doing other topics. So I'm going to promote that up the yin yang. So please, everybody out there, share this in your social media, because I think more people need to see what this brother is doing, or hear what he's doing, understand what he's doing, and be familiar with what he's doing. And repeat again before we go, the mentoring webinar that you were talking about. How can people find it and watch it?
Every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can go to Mentoring on the Fly IG channel, pretty much our IG page. And you can, we go live and you can jump on there. If you got kids at the house, definitely put them in front of that Instagram handle at that time. Mentoring on the Fly, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right, brother. Well, with that said, brother, take care of yourself. I'm glad you came on board. Have a great day, brother. We'll be back at this sometime soon. Peace.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Peace to you. All right. So that was brother Dwayne Aikens Jr. I hope that you all enjoyed that. I know I wasn't getting all wild with it like I did yesterday on my yesterday's program, talking about what's happening with the difference in how people are treated versus black people taking arms and following their rights as citizens, like the Black Panther Party did in May 2nd, which was yesterday, 1967, versus what you saw in Michigan. I was going in with that one. This video today was more educational. It was more about what are the solutions. Everything that brother said today was solution based. And that's primarily what my channel, or what this channel, is about. This channel cannot work and operate without your support. Those of you in the chat room who come over here within taking the time out of your time with your family to watch me talk. And let me say what's up again to Lawrence Aikens, who is proud of his cousin. I know this brother very well. Brother Aikens, make sure that Aikens, do me this favor. I know that you're a member of many alpha Facebook groups. Make sure you put this video inside of as many alpha Facebook groups as possible. They need to hear this, see this, the whole 9 yard. I thank you, brother, if you can do that. Let me now say, I'm going to give everybody a shout out. I'm going to take my time before I end. We've got Underrated Darkness, who says he's back. Thank you again for the super chat. Underrated Darkness is a great brother, a passionate brother. I want people to check out his channel as well. I love you, Underrated Darkness. I want to say to Golden Melanin, thank you for your support. You called in yesterday and had words to say. I just thank you for being here like you always have. Let me go to, I'm going to give everybody a personal shout out. Wildflower Wisdom. She says, I definitely enjoyed this one. I appreciate you all. I want to say I appreciate you. You come over when you have opportunity. You support the show. I thank you once more because you're taking time out of your weekend. Let me go up to AKA Back to the Basics. I want to say thank you personally, sister. You have supported the channel. You've also supported me financially. I do not sleep on any of that. I thank you again. You call in the shows when I do open lines. You are inspiring. So once again, thank you. Back to the Basics. DJ OZ, thank you, brother, for coming over. Do this for me. You're supporting your brother Aikens today, who was putting down some knowledge. Do me the biggest favor. Subscribe to the channel. Tell other people about the channel. But most importantly, promote the video. Promote your brother through your social media. This is very important. I thank you for coming over and being a part of this today. Let me see who else I need to get to. Some people might have already stepped out. We got the one drop from one drop. He says, keep up the great work, brother Aikens. Dwayne, hey, thank you, brother, for coming over. And yes, we want him to keep up the great work that he's doing because it's very important. Now, his business partner, Lamont Robinson, says he appreciates. And I think, Lamont, I appreciate you for coming over. Make sure you share this throughout your social media. I know you will. Thank you for coming over once more. And then we've got, this is a brother from New York. He has a gaming channel, FIFA World and other gaming, and I love soccer. Thank you, brother, for coming over. Share the video, and everybody check out his channel. If you like gaming, the brother is real. Check him out. And then we've got my man, Uncle Franks, who is from the town. He is from Oakland himself. Thank you for coming over, supporting what the brother was talking about. And let me see, did I miss somebody who super chatted me? We got Story Time, who is just super chatting me. She says, hello, information man. I hope you have a wonderful day, brother. Let me give you this greeting.
Thank you for the super chat.
I thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Story Time, sister, thank you very much. I appreciate you for dropping that super chat. Don't think that I do not appreciate people that have supported me. Maurice came over. Maurice, he's a brother that's a black conservative that I've got to interview, and he came over, showed me a little love today, and I say peace to him. Then there's a brother that's been in the, we went live today on Periscope. So we were on Periscope live, of course, YouTube live, and we were on Twitter as well live, which is the same thing as Periscope. And we have a brother by the name of Pro Speckley Soldier, if I'm saying that right, who's been in the Periscope chat, who's been watching and making comments positively. And I want to say peace to everybody on Periscope and Twitter who's watching. Share the video. So let me go back up again, and I think I'm going to stop it right there. Anybody that I haven't shouted out, I apologize. Just trying to do the best I can here. So with that said, everybody, I want to thank you for coming over. And let me take this off real quick. There we go. Excuse me, everybody. Let me have a drink of tea. I've been drinking tea most of the day. Thank you for watching the program. This is the Information Man. We'll be back at this again. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
The city of Oakland. Oakland!
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Information is
Tell the truth.
Information
Tell the truth.
is power.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
Jackalope creatures.
The Information Man Show.